Analysis of the Way of Nature. Xiefeng. December 15, 2019. The way of nature is the way of the greatest creator, of non-action and silence, and to harmony and freedom. It is the outline and the law of the universe, and the way of heaven and Tao itself. By following the way of nature, everything would be in order, the weather would be favorable and society would be peaceful. By deviating from the way of nature, everything would be chaotic and disorderly, disasters would occur frequently, the world would be turbulent, and people would be contentious. By fighting against heaven, our suffering would be constant. By fighting against the earth and each other, our suffering would be endless. By fighting against Tao, our abyss of misery would be endless. The way of nature is profound, mysterious, and can neither be measured nor understood by human intelligence. It is full of vitality which can be neither resisted nor refused. The place that obeys it is heaven, but the place that goes against it is hell. Tsunamis, tornadoes, hurricanes, typhoons, gales, thunderstorms, floods, droughts, scorching heat, hail, epidemics, insect plagues, and so on in nature are all caused by human society's failure to follow nature's way and all of its warnings to mankind. Wars, turmoil, fighting, riots, revolutions, dynasties changing, diseases, hunger, and other phenomena that occur in human societies are the results of human violations of nature and are its punishments to mankind. How has human society deviated from the way of nature? Things that bring trouble, pain, anxiety, sorrow, horror, fear, sadness, or despair to people but cannot make them happy, joyous, free, or blessed deviate from the way of nature. I hereby affirm that the developments and inventions of science and the inventions and applications of all tools do not deviate from the way of nature. The 5 main things that deviate from it are as follows. Legal systems with laws, judges, and lawyers have all violated the way of nature. Western societies that govern themselves with artificial laws deviate from the way of nature. Look at the plants, animals, and insects. They have never needed laws or legal systems, but are they not running well? With judges and lawyers, human societies lose their natural attributes and human nature becomes forced into distortion. The people who want to build several houses on their own land are regulated and restricted, and people's attributes of truthfulness, goodness, and beauty are restricted and controlled by laws. The existence of countries violates the way of nature and is equivalent to artificially building a high wall to imprison people within this big prison called nationhood. Migratory birds migrate freely, so why cannot people? According to the principles of nature, human societies must have governments, but just as bee and ant queendoms have bee and ant queens, governments should only be symbols to unite people's hearts, not organizations to manage and regulate them. When governments expand out of proportion and implement their wills upon every aspect of human life, then they completely deviate from the way of nature. The more problems they create, the more bitter their people become, and this is where those governments develop strong wills and subvert the way of nature. Fewer problems exist and people live in peace and contentment when the government has complied more with the way of nature. Our marriage systems deviate from the way of nature because they bind couples together forcibly. They conform to neither the laws and principles of nature nor to those of human nature. If they did, then there would be no phenomena of cheating and betrayals. The thoughts and practices of trying to change other people and their natures go against the ways of nature, such as mutual torture and devastations between married couples, mutual condemnation and strife between political parties, mutual hostility and competition for believers among religions, mutual restrictions and sanctions between countries, and human transformations of nature, such as reclamation of the sea, deforestation of forests, building hydroelectric dams, and transforming rivers, grasslands, wetlands, lakes, deserts, and so forth. All of these thoughts and behaviors violate the ways of nature. All success studies, nutrition studies, talent studies, prenatal teaching, fast learning, doctrines, truth studies, Western medicine, cloning, and so on violate the way of nature. Violations of the way of nature will definitely be punished by it. The way of punishment is to make people suffer, fear, despair, and even die through disasters. Human intelligence will attend to one thing while losing another. The way of nature is the only law that mankind should obey. People in the 1,000-year world and 10,000-year world follow it purely, so everything is peaceful, safe, warm, and satisfying there. Attempting to follow nature would confuse people. They would ask an unlimited number of questions about how issues would be handled. Without countries, who would protect us from them? Without legal systems, who would handle disagreements and resolve disputes? Without political parties, who would manage our lives? How can humans reproduce without marriages? Were people allowed to migrate without controls? Would they not all move to the prosperous big cities? Without controls, would the human population not expand indefinitely? Without the police, would people not destroy the ecology and misbehave, and would bandits and robbers not be everywhere? Without strong interventions and restrictions, would we not fight for resources everywhere, and would armies not appear and vassal states not arise that would conquer and kill people everywhere? To eliminate these doubts and obtain answers, we should neither read the writings of human thoughts nor imitate the experiences of human history, but read the books without words, read the heavens, the earth, and all of nature. Were there no humans on this earth, would the kingdoms of plants, animals, and insects have any of these problems? Of course not. We would discover the principles of mutual generation and restraint of the way of nature, its principle of natural regulation, and discover that when anything goes to excesses or extremes, a restraining force always comes into being. If you think that human beings following the way of nature would move them toward the law of the jungle, then look at the state of the 1,000-year world of heaven and we will surely learn sensible, reasonable, and legal answers from it.